Hey, I'm Hollywood.
And I'm Jim.
And this is the Smoked Debrief. Today, we are going to smoke the Perdomo 20th Anniversary Maduro Epicure. It's a full-bodied cigar known for its rich, decadent flavor. It features a 8-year-old Cuban seed Nicaraguan Maduro wrapper that has been aged for an additional 14 months in bourbon barrels. This aging process enhances the natural sweetness of the wrapper, complementing the spicy notes from the binder and filler tobaccos. This cigar is semi-box pressed and offers a smooth, easy draw. Wrapper, 8-year-old Cuban seed Nicaraguan Maduro, bourbon barrel aged for an additional 14 months. Binder, higher priming Cuban seed Nicaraguan. Filler, Cuban seed Nicaraguan, body medium to full. Oh. I just want to say one more thing. Last week, we smoked the CAO Nicaraguan.
Yeah, you even left your band on the chair there from last week.
That's what reminded me of it. You know, it's a mild cigar, but it wasn't harsh. It wasn't, you know, I feel like,
oh, dude,
I feel like you gave it a bad rap saying it's a 5.
If I
think it's a 6. No, it's not true. I wouldn't have bashed it.
Yes, you would have. You've been, Jim, his weak ass shit.
I'm saying it's nothing great, but I'm saying there's nothing wrong with it.
Where'd you get this? Food Line?
You know, one of these days, bro. One of these days.
This is a smoker. You like the smokers.
I think I'm going to leave and just you can do this episode by yourself because you're such a jackass.
You know what?
What?
That would be fitting of you to get up and walk out right in the middle of the fucking production, leaving us all hanging. What does the union say about that?
Oh, my God. I'm going to have to listen to this for the rest of my life. Just because you're a taskmaster who wants to take advantage of the people and keep the people down that are keeping you rich and well healed.
Okay, I'm still waiting for something to be wrong about that.
I'm going to show up outside of Salvation Coffee with some signs that said, set the people free. Can you imagine? Carrie'd be out there with a baseball bat beating me about the head and shoulders.
She would bring you an oatmeal cream pie and you'd give up. You're,
Okay. Down with the people.
So I gotta
say it.
Pat myself on the back because
nobody else will.
I think that we've done a pretty good job with this half-ass little studio, and
if we only knew someone that knew anything about social media, we might actually get more than 20 followers.
But you got to pay for that, dude. So
you don't have to pay for it.
Do you know what you should do?
It's a miracle I got to tell you this. It's a miracle that I'm still on social media. Laziness has kept me from shutting my social media down.
I get that. I'm not your laziness, but I get that because I'm the same way.
Did you see all the bullshit about the girl that got attacked by the orca?
No.
They created all these videos. AI did showing her getting eaten in front of all the people and everything, and she's crying, and the orca's attacking her. What is wrong with people, man? I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Society. If that entertains you, there's something wrong with you. Other people's misery.
Only people I like to see in misery are my enemies. And hopefully it's misery I've created. I don't really have any enemies.
I spent all day on that baseball field from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. yesterday. It was a gazillion degrees.
How was the skeeters?
Do you know that they make a sunscreen mosquito repellent now?
Avon Skin So Soft.
No, bro, forget that. I use off. I want some DDT, something that'll melt my skin.
You know, I get 90% DEET stuff off from Amazon. Like it's like the legal limit DEET you can get.
This is full of tasty cocoa-y goodness.
Yes. You're welcome. So, hey.
This is a great cigar you've picked, Jim.
Friday.
Did you hear what I just said?
Yes, thank you.
You should relish in that moment.
I'm relishing in it right now. Will you say it again? Just once more?
This is an excellent smoke you've chosen, Jim.
Thank you.
Full of tasty, delicious cocoa-y goodness.
Thank you.
And if you're out there and you know anything about social media and you want to help this amazing podcast grow, feel free to reach out to us in the comments.
Yes,
and hopefully Jim won't insult you.
We'll take care of you on the back end.
Yeah, we'll send you some of those freaking JR cigars that I got, the 100 JR cigars I got in that humidor box. I'd happily trade some of those for some social media help.
So Friday, came home, chilling, waiting on Carrie to get home. And like 10 o'clock, no, it was Thursday evening. And
you go to bed early, don't you?
Friday is, when I can. Friday is trash day. So Thursday evening, I went out about 10 to take the garbage out to the street, and I go out the front door and there's a red door banner or whatever hung on my taped to our screen door. It's from the damn sheriff's department. They had papers on me.
Papers?
Yeah. And I'm
what kind of papers?
Like, have a lawsuit or something. And
they can just tape it to the door?
They taped it. I'm like, why the hell didn't this motherfucker ring the doorbell? I
don't think they can serve you by taping it to the door.
Well, no, it was a note telling me they had papers and I needed to come to the sheriff's department. Well, if you're going to send a deputy all the way out there, wouldn't it behoove them to have the fucking papers right there? I mean, and ring the doorbell, see if I'm home? Maybe but they didn't.
Maybe they didn't send a deputy. Maybe they didn't send someone.
It was a deputy.
Maybe they didn't send someone who could legally serve you.
Okay. So I took it off the door.
What did it say?
There was papers. And I had to go, I called them. I could call them and they would bring them to me, or I could come to the sheriff's department. Well, Friday morning I go to the shop, but there's always sheriff's deputies in there. And one of them is in there 2 or 3 times a day. And I showed it to him and I said, why would he not just ring my doorbell and hand me the papers right then? He takes the time to tape this on my door, but not ring the doorbell because I was home. And he looked at the name of who did it and he said, oh, that's why. I said, oh, is he lazy? He's like, yeah. I said, well, it just makes no sense. So he gave me a telephone number. He said, you call them. And I said, I'm just going by there. Because I'm like, okay, who the hell did I piss off this month? And they're going to sue me or something. And, as if I didn't have other 100 things to worry about. The sink's leaking up front, the ice maker's not working right or some shit like that. So I get to the sheriff's department and I go in there and I wait 15, 20 minutes because I guess they were all at lunch. And a deputy had to bring the paper out there or whatever. So the guy comes out there, and it's a thing from when my mother, her estate was involved in the Camp Lejeune water legal thing.
Right.
And
a check for $3.07?
No, unfortunately, it wasn't a check. It was from the clerk of court because we hadn't closed the estate. My mother's estate had not been closed. Okay, well, this is shit that law firm was supposed to handle, not me. So, but I'm the one that, of course, is going to get in trouble. So So I got to call the law firm in Texas and say, hey, and the guy, he was like, I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about. And I said, look,
the lawyer guy?
I said, yeah, I said, all I know is the sheriff's deputy served papers on me, and it's because shit you guys didn't do. And he's like, okay, hold on. He transferred me to somebody who did know. And he said, we'll get it taken care of, Mr. Young. I said, I appreciate it. I said, it's just, when I was younger, I got in trouble a lot. And I pride myself as I got older and I had my business and everything that I was done with that. I was done getting in trouble and smarting off to cops and all that shit. So I kind of have PTSD when a sheriff deputy shows up and they got papers. It's a joke now when they come into the shop. I was like, oh, they come in and they're like full uniform. I'm like, oh Lord, you got papers on somebody?
Because it's gonna fuck your life up. For the most For the most minuscule thing, it's gonna take time and annoyance, and it's never gonna be easy. And then this is gonna cost that, and that's gonna cause it's.
And in the court, I don't give a shit what anybody says and what you see on the TV. You are not innocent until proven guilty. You are guilty until you can afford to prove you're innocent.
That's right.
And it's fucking bullshit. And that's not the way the legal system's supposed to be.
So
it's not supposed to be plea deals and stuff.
My aunt. I think we talked. My aunt passed away 2 years ago, and they had been using this country ass lawyer in Sweetwater, Texas, because he was the only one near where the land was and my granddad's land was and all that kind of shit. And he was the executor of my aunt's will. There was nothing contested. There was nothing complicated. She had bank accounts, credit union accounts. A year goes by, and this guy had done nothing. Absolutely nothing. Hadn't spoken to the credit union, hadn't spoken to the bank, we wanted to sell my aunt's house. He had done nothing. So my little brother, who got all the temper that I don't have, he was on the freaking edge,
I bet.
He wanted to just go down to this guy's office with a baseball bat and just go crazy. I'm like, bro, you can't do that. I said, we're going to wait another 6 months. And if nothing happens in another 6 months, you're going to call your lawyer in Waco. You're going to have him take over the estate. You're going to send a letter to this guy, this lawyer, and if he does not give up the executive rights to your attorney, then we're going to take this guy to the Texas Board of Lawyers.
Yeah.
6 months go by, nothing happens. So we go to a judge. The judge says, "Yeah, no problem. He's going to allow my brother's attorney to take over." We send this guy a letter. Here's the judge's judgment. We're going to take over. Blah blah blah. Please sign this form releasing the estate to this other attorney. It takes 3 months to get this fucking guy to send the letter and the thing back, saying that he's going to take over. We finally get it like 2 months ago. It took that guy 2 months. My brother called me yesterday. He just got back from his cruise to Greece.
It's just pure laziness.
And he goes, "Bro, I don't know how to tell you this, but all the paperwork's done. I'm now the executor." I'm like, thank God. I said, "I'm telling you this right now, bro. When this is settled, I'm going after that attorney, because he's the big shot attorney in that rural area of about 8 million square miles of West Texas, and he did nothing, man. He
milked it. He probably milked it for billable hours or something.
Well, he tried to. When he sent that form back, he said we owed him an additional $10,000. And the Kyle's attorney went to the judge. Judge immediately said, no, they don't know you anything. You had a $10,000 retainer for a year, and you did absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's not an exaggeration. He did nothing. Now, I think the guy's senile. He may have Parkinson's or Alzheimer's or something.
Yeah.
I think that there's something wrong with him, and he just won't admit that he can't attorney anymore. But that's the good side of me, you know. That's that part of me that doesn't want to scorch the earth. But after
He's an attorney, dude.
But after 2 years, bro, something in the state of Texas, the state of Texas states if there is no connections,
no contestations.
Nothing contested. There's no commingling. There's nobody else. There was nobody else. It was just her estate.
Yeah.
It should happen in 90 days.
Yeah.
And this guy needs to be evaluated by the Texas Board of Attorneys, because either there's something wrong with him or he's an ass. And if he's an ass, then his day is coming.
So I know when my aunt passed away, and she had left everything to me, and she had a life insurance policy that she left to my nephew. But I had her will, and it was handwritten and signed by her. And I went to the clerk of court, said, "Here's my aunt's will and everything." And I mean, it was like 5 minutes. She said, "Here you go. Here's your power of attorney for all of her accounts. You can take this to the bank and show them that you're the heir." And I said, "Okay," and that was it. But she had thought about all that stuff. Like, nobody knew she was sick. And after my mom passed away, she just came up to me. We had her family, my mom's family had a little get together. And my aunt pulled me aside and she said, "Will you be the executor of my estate?" And I said, "Yeah, Aunt Sandra, I'd be happy to." Didn't think nothing about it. And then like 2 weeks later, I get a call from the hospital. We have Sandra here, and we're getting ready to take her to hospice. And I was, okay. And they said, "You were on the list to call." I said, "Okay." So she was at hospice for a day, and she passed away, and I went to her house.
So she was sick.
Yeah. She had been going through chemo and everything, and
nobody knew?
Nobody knew.
What?
Nobody knew. It's crazy. Nobody knew. But she was that way. She didn't want to burden anybody. But when I went to her house, she had been renting the bottom of the the basement out to a young kid. And I go over there, and this kid comes up, and he said, are you Jim?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm supposed to give you this." And it was a strong box, and it had her will in it, and then money, because my uncle, who he had passed away years ago, but he used to have an apiary where they raised bees and canned honey and stuff and sold it. And had all these in her will. She had these stuff that she wanted in her casket. She had all of the arrangements already prepaid at the funeral home, everything. We didn't have to pay anything. It was all prearranged. And she had in her will, she said, "I want Gerald," which was her husband, "I want Gerald's red checkered flannel shirt and his gold watch in my casket with me." And I'm like, "Oh my Lord, how are we going to find all this stuff?" So we go over to her house.
It was all right there.
And she had, in one room, post-it notes. "This is the shirt I want in my casket. And then over on the table was the gold watch with a post-it note. "This is the gold watch I want in my casket." And it was just so cool. And, Aunt Sandra
she didn't want everybody to have to deal with the burden.
She didn't want, I felt obliged to her because she was with my mother when my mother passed away.
Right.
So, but I had no idea she was going to pass so quick.
Right.
But we got over there, and she was, she was in a car wreck when she was in high school, in the 60s, and she had some brain trauma. So she wasn't retarded or anything like that, but she was a bit slow. But she worked as a waitress for this one company for a good 25, 30 years. Well, then that company got sold and she lost her job, and she went to work at Wendy's, and she worked at Wendy's for another 20, 30 years. And when she passed, no hospital bills, nothing. There was nothing that she owed. And she had a nice savings account, checking account, that life insurance policy that went to my nephew, and her other nephews. That, like, she had a couple of cars, and she said, I want this one to get this car and this one to get this car. So it's like, okay. And I got them all, everybody together, and I said, okay, this is
how it is.
And, but she had every bit of it. And it's so cool. 'Cause, and every once in a while we'll be in her house, and you can look through a little book or something, and it's where she takes notes. It might be something a book she bought on a trip, and she would write notes in it. Like, we went here and we had a really good time and all that stuff. It was pretty cool. That's the house where Courtney lives.
Well, my mom was being married, of course, next to my dad and her mom and dad and my aunt and uncle, out in the middle of nowhere, West Texas, on this hillside where where the Decker Cemetery is. And my brother and I went to the funeral home there in San Angelo, coordinated everything, because we don't want to have a service, or just graveside services. All, when she passes, they'll come get her there in Waco, do what they need to do, and then they'll take her into the cemetery. So, it's all taken care of. It's all paid for and everything. But my mom is hilarious. Her will says everything gets split up between my brother and I, and if either one of us contests the will, the contester gets nothing. Which is perfect,
Yeah.
You have completely redeemed your past cigar failings with this great Perdomo.
Thanks, man.
I do have to say, though, it's cheating picking a Perdomo, because a Perdomo cigar, they're all good. I don't think I've ever smoked a bad Perdomo. The guy that owns is a character, at the PCA show. He has a full drum set up in their booth.
Oh, really?
And he plays the drums, yeah.
It is good. It's a nice smoke. This is a 9.
It's a great smoke. I mean, you can just tell by the way the ash. Look at that.
I lost mine.
You lost your ash?
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
I just like everybody to know that Jim does not like big men. Because if you go to Salvation Coffee and you want to get a T-shirt or a hoodie or something, and you're bigger than a medium, you can forget about it.
When we first opened, Carrie and I, we had gotten shirts, and
I don't like it.
When we had our pre-grand opening as just a test to see how it was going to go and make sure everybody.
I believe that's called a soft opening. Jim.
Yeah, soft opening, whatever. And there were some people coming in, and they were pretty good sized people. And when we got shirts and everything done, Carrie said, make sure you get some 5X. So we got some, and we're folding them up. The night before we had our grand opening, Carrie and I are in there folding them up and putting them on the shelf and stuff. And some of those shirts covered the entire table. They were so big. Now, and we did sell out of them, but then we got into a point after the second year we were open, we didn't sell as many. So I got stuck with a bunch. Some of those I gave to you. But now when I got this last run of t-shirts, she couldn't get 5X in the same material that's real comfortable. And so I said, okay, see if you can source some. And she was supposed to have a hoodie, but it wasn't in our.
I'm just kidding, Jim.
No, because I want you to have some shirts and stuff. It's weird how.
I'm surprised
after the pandemic.
I'm surprised you didn't say to me, just lose some fucking weight, Hollywood.
Why would I do that?
Because you were thinking it, but thanks for not saying it.
I wasn't thinking it at all. I don't think that way.
You're my best friend, Jim.
You're my best friend. You fat fuck.
Oh, okay. Oh man, words can hurt. You know what? If I need a couple of Chick-fil-A just to get over it.
You lay off them damn oatmeal cream pies, boy. So I don't know if I told you about when Judas Priest came to Raleigh a few years ago.
No.
It was middle of pandemic. Had to have your vaccine record to get in.
What?
It was at the Red Hat. It wasn't Judas Priest requirement. It was the Red Hat Amphitheater in Raleigh, because Raleigh is lefty town. All these.
That's the one that's right downtown, right?
Yeah.
That's a cool venue.
Great little venue.
I saw Five for Fighting there.
You shot a video for them, didn't you?
I did.
But we get there, of course I was vaccinated. And we get there, and I had a shirt made before we left. I went and asked the girl that does all our shirts. I said, I need a shirt. And it had the the rock and roll hand, and it said, I'm gay for Rob Halford on the front of it. And dude, everybody I walked by would stop. They would be like, I love that shirt. That shirt is awesome, man. I was like, thanks. So, cause I'm a huge Judas Priest fan. I love Judas Priest.
Favorite rock and roll band?
What?
Favorite rock and roll band?
Favorite heavy metal band. Favorite rock and roll band would be ZZ Top. But there was another band from Helsinki or somewhere, and their mic stands were AR-15s. It was so damn cool. And there was AR-15, and then they're like on the microphone. It was pretty damn cool. And then we watched them, and then Judas Priest came out, and we're playing, and the Rob Halford, he's walking along the stage, and the guitar player is right in front, because I'm not going to a concert unless I got good seats, and we were right up front. And my nephew went with me.
The nephew that I went to the movie with?
Yes.
The big nephew.
Zach. Yeah.
Is that your aunt's son?
That's my sister's son. My nephew. So we get there, we're watching the concert, and of course, Judas Priest is just great. Rob Halford is the metal god. He's got the voice, heavy metal voice. They've just always been, that's my band. Well, the guitar player, Richie Faulkner, he's in the middle of one of his solos and everything, and Rob Halford is pacing the back and doing his singing and everything. And then Richie Faulkner looks down and he sees my shirt, and he's pointing at me. And then Rob Halford walks over, and Richie Faulkner's like at that, and Rob Halford's like pointing at me. And then Rob Halford turns and goes to the other side of the stage, and Richie Faulkner looks at me and he goes, I'll see if I can find the video. I'll put it in here.
You got the video of that?
Oh, hell yeah. And, oh, it was so fun. So that anytime I go, I'm hoping to go see them again. I think they're coming back with Alice Cooper. But they couldn't play past
because of the area.
10:30 or 11, something like that. So that was kind of a bummer because they cut their set short. They didn't play Breaking the Law. And
breaking the law. But I bet they played You Got Another Thing Coming.
You know they did. But, you know, I think Rob Halford retired. He's 70 now. I think he retired. They're still doing, I think they're still touring, but he's retiring after this tour's over. But I believe they're coming to Raleigh with Alice Cooper. I love me some Judas Priest. All right, what are you doing?
Now?
We can't have silent parts. Come on now.
I sent the boys a text saying, you know, don't pay attention to anything that any other video team tells you.
Any other video what?
That any other I tell my guys when they're shooting, you don't listen to what other video people tell you.
Yeah.
If some cameraman says, "Hey, you can't be there," blah blah blah. I said, you know, you only change what you're doing if the client says that. And one of my guys just texted back and said, "I barely listen to what you tell me. You think I'm going to listen to somebody else?"
So they still playing right now, or?
Dude, they got 4 games today. 4 games, and the weather was beautiful yesterday.
Oh, I bet it was yesterday, but man, did it get as humid?
Oh, it was terrible. It was miserable. Here? Look how dark I am from just yesterday. You know, an organization like the Legion, lots of divisions and levels and kingdoms, and
yeah.
So I could not. The right thing to do was cancel all the games on Thursday. But what a huge thing they did, to do that. And I was proud of the guy that ran the. He said, "We're not going to play today. We're going to let the field dry out, because if they'd been out there playing even 2 games, they'd have tore the outfield up.
And then they'd have to wait until it got fixed up.
Yeah, so that was a bold, but it was the right move to make. One team was winning 7-4 in the bottom of the seventh inning, and the other team loaded the bases, and a kid hit a grand slam.
Oh,
walk-off grand slam.
Heart broke.
I mean, walk-off grand slam.
Think they did it on purpose?
No.
You don't think they had that plan? Like, we're gonna make them think they're gonna win, and then we're gonna fuck them in the end.
I don't know. Maybe that's possible.
Depends on how good a coach you got.
Shooting baseball is very difficult because, you never know when the action. I mean, if you're shooting the field, we have 2 cameras that have a 60 millimeter to a 600 millimeter lens.
Yeah.
2 cameras, and I operated one, and Clifton operated the other, and you just have to anticipate. Like the pitch comes, you roll, then you cut if he doesn't hit it, and then if the guy gets on first base, you're covering the leadoff, you roll, and if the pitcher goes home, you cut because, so there's like 1,000 clips.
Yeah.
With only maybe.
So you're not live streaming?
No, with only maybe ESPN's filming it.
Oh.
ESPN is shooting it live.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
In Shelby. Isn't that where you went for that battleground thing? The reenactment?
No, that was
Faith.
Faith's where I went for the 4th of July parade.
Yeah.
the battleground is south of here somewhere, where they did that big reenactment.
You know, we had some great weather last week. It was like 70 degrees.
Oh, really?
Felt great. Now it just got humid and miserable. I hate going outside at night and like you gotta slice through the air to walk.
Well, the rancher, he was a cigar smoker. So we sat, but he smoked Philly blunts, and I didn't have any cigars with me. And that was hilarious because we were sitting out there on the porch. It was hot, but if you're just sitting and not moving, it was okay.
They send a runner out. He's like, "Hey man, here's $10. Go down there to the food line and get me some more of these stogies." You know, there's a food line in Shelby.
Philly blunt.
Y'all be coming back with all them Dutch master bullshit. I want Philly blunts.
That's
None of them flavored either. You come back up here with a wild strawberry, you're leaving with it up your butt.
That's the cigars we smoked when I was flying because there were no cigar shops. You know, it was the late '80s, so we smoked Havatampas and Dutch Masters after we'd fly because there was no legit cigars or where we were. Not many cigar shops in Grand Forks, North Dakota, or Anderson Air Force Base, Guam.
Bet there is now.
There probably is. You ever been to Guam?
No.
Guam is where the Japanese go if they're not really rich for their honeymoons. It's that's their America. There's like,
I thought they went to Hawaii.
If they're not rich.
Oh, okay.
There's like 5 to 10 5-star hotels on the beach in Guam, and that was their America.
So what other than the ball games? You're leaving. Take the get ready for the legacy ride.
Yeah. You'll have to film me driving out of here.
Hell yeah. Adios, amigo. Are you leaving your Suburban here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I need to know what my stereo installation is going to cost.
I won't know. I'll have to figure it all up.
Okay.
You want me to do it while you're gone?
If you have time,
I can give it a shot. Just leave me your keys.
Oh, of course I will.
I just hope the weather holds out for that legacy ride. Because poor Austin back in the back of that thing with the camera.
He's a young man.
And he's got a nice chair.
He's got a nice chair.
We're going to have to make sure we strap that in. I've got some toe straps somewhere. I think, they're in the van.
I got some lanyards with me.
Oh, okay.
6-foot lanyards.
All right. So does Nick film, or does he just point and say, "Here, shoot this, and shoot that"?
Nick networks.
Checks the F.
No, Nick networks, and that's what he's great at.
Yeah. What's the F again?
F-stop.
F-stop.
How it's funny because
how wide the iris is.
That's right. And it's funny because he loves doing stuff like that. He'll text me. I'll be down on the field. He's up in the booth where we have all our gear, and there's like 3 chairs. There's air conditioning, and he'll text me, "What's your f-stop? What's your color temperature?" It always makes me laugh.
Just answer him. Just give him the same answer every time. 69. What's your f-stop and your color temperature? 69. Okay, just checking. Good job. What happened? You remember when we first met, you guys were doing the weapon snatcher. What happened to that video? I never saw that it came out or anything.
We gave it to him. I don't know.
Oh, damn. I got to send him some more coffee.
I think he's doing well.
Yeah, every time he posts because him and Finney came to the shop, and John loaded up. He got a couple of flannel shirts and the big patch hats and a hoodie, and every once in a while when he's shooting a video, he's got our hat on or the flannel shirt. And Finney's got a flannel shirt, and he's gone all over the world with that damn shirt.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Does it say?
It's the Salvation, the big patch. It's this patch.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's on a green flannel.
That's awesome.
I miss Matt. He needs to come through.
Me too.
Smoke some stogies. He's in Vietnam. So I'm reordering cups and stuff, and right now there is a truce on the tariff with China, but coming up, Brazil's getting a 50% tariff socked on them, so it's going to fuck me on my coffee.
As a business owner, how do you feel about that?
It pisses me off, but I would still vote the same way because I understand why he's doing it. The other countries do need to pay their fair share, and it should be reciprocal. Whatever we get from a country, they should reciprocate and buy the same amount from us.
I agree 100% on that.
And
if we're paying a 50% tariff with them, then they should be paying a 50% tariff with us.
And it should be that way. It's insane, like I'm reading. I didn't bring it with me. I should have. I'm reading Raven 23, which is about the Blackwater incident in Baghdad, where they were railroaded by the Obama administration and sentenced to prison. And then thankfully they got a reporter who investigated, and
is that right?
Trump pardoned him. Yeah, the reporter wrote the book.
Who was the reporter from?
It's a lady. She lives in Texas. She's from California, but that started out. Her husband came home one day, and the news story was on, and he said, one of the guys who was being sentenced, he said, I know that boy. I grew up with his father, and I know that kid, and he didn't do that. I know that kid didn't do that. So she was like, how did he know? And then he ended up, he told his wife, you need to report on that. You need to investigate that. And she was like, I'm just not getting it, because she was left leaning, Obama supporter, all this stuff.
Right.
And her husband set up a chance meeting where she got to meet this kid's parents and learned about this kid.
But it wasn't a chance meeting.
Her husband set it up. So she ends up, she's like, okay, some things aren't adding up. And then there's some kind of judicial organization that looks at how cases were tried, and then they do a report on, okay, this was wrong, that's not legal procedure and all this stuff. Well, they came back after they examined the case, after these guys were sentenced to prison and stuff. They came back and said, no, there is no way that this happened, because the judge and the prosecutor were pretty much running everything. They weren't letting evidence come in. They were allowing stuff that shouldn't have been, and all this stuff. And she said, once I saw that, I knew there was something up. And then she went to each of the prisons, because these guys were put in separate prisons.
So they couldn't get to them
because they were told that they would cohort and and conspire and stuff like that. So she went to each prison and interviewed each of these kids. I say kids, but they are, as far as
kids
age.
to us.
And she said, I thought, these guys, if that can happen to them, it can happen to me and anybody else. And so she said, I had to dig deeper. So she dug. Sean Ryan did a podcast about it, and it was a 5-hour-long episode where he's interviewing all of those guys and that lady reporter. And the book is so good, but it will piss you off. Everybody thinks like Obama's the black Jesus and can do no wrong, and you find out he's just as corrupt, if not more, than everybody else. Democrats just get away with it.
It's the ignorance that bothers me. It's the believing what your side says, whichever side you're on.
Yeah.
Believing what they say without you doing any research. Nobody does any research. Nobody studies, and I'm a big proponent for law enforcement.
Oh yeah.
But I've done over 200 episodes of cop and shows and trials and that kind of stuff, and you see the corruption, you see the bullshit, and the problem is you complain about one and everyone says, oh, you don't like the police, you don't like the judicial system. That's not wrong. That's not right. That's not how I feel about it.
Yeah.
How I feel about it is justice. And no matter who you are, if what you're doing is unjust or wrong, if you're planting evidence, if you're changing statements,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many court cases that I did that the statements that were given to the court, that were presented in court, had been changed by law enforcement.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And that's crazy.
Well, the FBI had a hand in it too when they
really
they were, it was Obama's administration, and I think there was one thing she was talking about where Joe Biden had a call with the whoever was in charge in Iraq and told them these boys are going to pay, and so they were railroaded. And it just one more reason Joe Biden's a piece of shit. Has been his whole damn life. How can they, they were trying to use and I think they used some kind of law that Congress passed that was for drug dealers. If someone is killed, and they use that to charge these Blackwater guys when they were already charged. They didn't work for the Department of Defense. They worked for the State Department.
Right.
They worked for the State Department, and they were official duties. And what the government made it look like was that these guys just came out and just decided to start shooting people. And that wasn't the case. They had drone footage, but then when the trial comes, something's happened to the drone footage. They got 40 seconds of drone footage. That's all they have now. They had drone footage of the entire area, everything that happened, but for some reason,
and the judge let that be admitted.
Yeah, the Army investigator went out and found AK-47 rounds and all this stuff that was proof that somebody else was shooting at them, and they had all this evidence bagged and tagged, but they didn't tell people. They didn't tell them to store it, so it was discarded. It was disposed of. How convenient.
Now I'm going to have to read this book. When did it come out? When did it come out?
I got it Monday.
Raven 23.
Yeah, Raven 23. But that Sean Ryan podcast, if you're driving, listen to it, because Sean Ryan's got some good podcasts. But I watched that one, and it took me a week to watch it. And he also interviewed Eric Prince. He had already interviewed Eric Prince before, but he interviewed Eric Prince after. And, they got railroaded. Eric Prince's story would make a good movie.
I don't know if Eric would let you. Here's the problem I find with a lot of documentaries. They don't tell both sides of the story.
Yeah.
And to do a good documentary, you have to interview the people that disagree as well as the people that agree.
Yeah.
And then the people that you're doing the documentary about, they don't want that. Even though it doesn't necessarily make them look bad, they feel like it does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to let the other side tell their story so you can realize how ridiculous they are.
Yeah, I agree. Well, it's cool when this reporter, because she's straight up honest. You know, that's not the kind of reporting I do, but she said once I've dug deeper and found out the evidence was clear, and she said I had no choice but to report on it because they were done wrong, and I had to report on it because that's what a journalist does.
Whether you agree with it or not.
Yeah, and warts and all. And there was one kid, Ridgway is his last name, who was on Raven 23. He is actually the one who shot. There was one car that had a mother and son in it. The mother was a doctor. The son was a medical student. And they were in a white Kia. And there had been a bolo put out that there was a white Kia with explosives and all this stuff. Well, the shots started being fired at the convoy. And they were hitting that car. They hit the car. Well, then there were Iraqi police, but they were actually insurgents. They were dressed as Iraqi police, but their uniforms were a little off. They weren't the same color as the real police. And the guys on Raven 23, they were noticing that. They were like, that something about this isn't right. And that Ridgway kid, how the events unfolded, he ended up shooting the mother because he didn't know what was going on. They thought there was explosives in that car because they shot the driver. The kid got shot. The boy got shot. He was driving. Well, the car kept rolling. And then one of the Iraqi police imposters ran over to the car, and they as far as they knew, that car was full of explosives. And this guy was running over there to keep the car moving because the car was still like chugging forward. And so somebody shot him. Well, then the Ridgway guy shot the mother. Okay, I don't think they knew that it was a female yet. Well, this Ridgway kid ended up testifying against the rest of the guys and changed his story from what his statement was after the incident when he was giving his statement to all the investigators and everything. Then when the prosecution got hold of him and they made him a sweet deal and all this stuff, and he testified against the other guys, changed his story and all that shit. This is a kid, and she gives details about his record and all this stuff. He got a general discharge from the Army. Do you know how fucking retarded? Sorry, I'm not using that word. You know how fucking stupid you've got to be to get a general discharge in the Army. He only served like 4 months. I guess he couldn't adapt or something like that. Well, for some reason later on he couldn't get a job. He went to somewhere went to a police academy. Didn't do anything. He didn't work for the police or anything like that. He requested that his discharge get upgraded to honorable, and it was approved. So he had an honorable discharge after that. I think he re-enlisted into the Guard, and then he went to Iraq and served in the Army in Iraq for a little while. Then he got out and applied for Raven 23 and applied for Blackwater. The only reason he got into Blackwater is because they had just lowered their standards, because normally they would only take special ops guys.
Right.
Well, he was definitely not a special ops guy, but he weaseled his way in. And you know as well as I do, there's pieces of shit. You'd have these guys that be in the Air Force and they think they're hot shit when you look, and they couldn't adapt to military life, so they were discharged, and then they go home and tell everybody what a war hero they are and all this other bullshit. That's the kind of prick this guy is.
Come on, Jim. Who would do that?
Well, you know, a lot of people would do it, but it's just, and I'm keep reading the book, and I haven't got to the end. I'm in the middle now, and I keep reading. I'm like, what happened to Ridgway? What the fuck happened to Ridgway? Now that all this shit came out, what happened to his ass? He didn't get pardoned. Trump didn't pardon his ass. Trump pardoned all the other guys. And I did find an article from California, the reporter making this Ridgway guy look like he's still a hero and all this stuff because he didn't get a pardon. And it makes me sick, dude. It's just insane. But Raven 23, got to buy it, got to read it, because it's worth it. And these guys need their story out there. I think Wikipedia still has it as the
original story.
Yeah, they massacred. They were in the book, the guy said as soon as they got back to their HQ, that there were already everybody that was involved was getting calls from their relatives, like, what happened, you know, and some of them called their parents or their wives or whatever and told them, I'm okay. Whatever they're reporting on CNN is not true. It did not happen that way. We're okay. We're just letting you know. And it's insane that one kid said when the FBI investigators came to his house, there was a local FBI agent who was from that area. And he said, that's the only agent that came up to me. He shook my hand and said, this is all bullshit. That's fucking, you know, when you got the FBI that are supposed to be, they should be beyond reproach. They should be the standard.
You know
bearers.
that they should, but you know the pressure that's coming from up above.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that's an excuse, but you get it, man. You know,
I know it. And you think, you know, you watch these.
Your battalion commander comes down to your little, you know, your squad, and here's a full colonel telling you,
we really need to find these boys guilty.
That's right. You know,
we need you all to take one for the team. So it's just, it's insane. But you see these movies where, you know, you got like Serpico, and it's almost too good to be true.
Right.
But it's not. It's true. You know, these corrupt cops, and there's one dude who said that's not right. And, you know, of course he's gets the shit beat out of him and shot and all kinds of stuff. And
people don't realize that it happens in real life.
Yeah,
they don't have the ability to realize that it could possibly happen in real life. They don't. They want to believe the Matrix, man. They want to believe that everything's just and everything's right, and it's not.
You know, Walking Tall, Buford Pusser.
Buford Pusser.
Well, you know, the one thing where the Memphis Mafia or whatever it was are the ones who had his wife.
Right.
Well, they massacred his wife and him and shot up the car. I saw I think it was on Instagram, Bo Svensson said when he was at the airport, when he was flying down, he was at the airport, and these men came over and said, we would like to talk to you. He was going to do the filming, and it was the Memphis Mafia, and they told him, they said, we didn't have nothing to do with his wife getting killed. He killed his wife, and you should write, but they were trying to intimidate him and to get him to not make the movie.
Wow. Well, Jim, you've redeemed yourself again. Mrs. Perdomo is a great
It's
smoke.
about the fifth time I've redeemed myself.
Let's not get carried away. Maybe this is the second.
Oh,
Today we had the
Perdomo.
20th anniversary. Perdomo Maduro, right?
Yes, a great cigar. I'm gonna give this one a 10,
Great cigar. I'm going to give it an 8.
an 8. I think I gave it a 9 earlier. I better stick with a 9
Okay.
because it is good.
Thanks for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you on our next episode. I'm Hollywood.
I'm Jim.
And this has been
The Smoked Debrief. Excellent. Oh my God.